Billions of years ago, when the universe was still fresh, the first inhabitants there were Celestials, the immortal space gods, and over the course of their existence, they learned how to create and destroy entire worlds so well that even Thanos would be jealous.
Oh my god!
And one day, one of those gods, called Ego, discovered the existence of girls and drinks, and immediately went on a trip around the planets, where he was having fun with the locals.
I got a penis. It's not half bad.
It's looking good. It's looking fucking good.
But then, one Terran woman was giving him hints that he should marry her because she was pregnant. So Ego got annoyed and came up with a brilliant plan of how to ghost a girl.
Roman.
He decided to develop a deadly and painful illness in her, because apparently just leaving and never calling back is less noble than killing a person. And on the same day, when the girl dies and gets transferred into the Transformers universe...
Don't say what's up.
Her son is adopted by a group of space gangsters. And even though Quill was raised away from Earth and in a different culture, he still follows the human rules.
Steal from everybody.
Because when his stepfather Yondu got an expensive order to steal a fancy metal sphere from an abandoned planet, Quill decided to sell it by himself.
This is why I do not do business with family.
And when there is an infinity stone inside the sphere, which can be used for destroying entire planets in a blink of an eye, some idiots decided to leave it in the abandoned building, and the security system is bypassed with a simple magnet or a Terminator's hand.
Fucking hell. That was easy.
And while Quill was thinking how he will spend the money after selling the sphere, the team of mercenaries arrives, hired by Smurf Ronan, who is supposed to deliver the stone to Thanos, so that he would destroy Ronan's enemy's planet.
I promised Thanos I would retrieve the orb for him. Only then will he destroy Xandar for me.
But why didn't Thanos send one of his sons or daughters, and instead hired a bunch of
Tweakers, dopers, first timers.
who didn't even handcuff Quill, and because of that, he managed to escape easily. And after that, Quill shows his stupidity, because he didn't shoot the mercenary after he tried to kill him, and especially after Quill told them his real name.
My name is Peter Quill, okay?
Who?
And of course, because of this mistake, Gamora will find him a few hours later. And the rest of the mercenaries are not any better. They don't even try to take cover after seeing a grenade and use some kind of IKEA rocket launcher, which requires a few minutes for being assembled.
How the fuck did you get this job?
But compared to all of those idiots, Ronan himself is 10 times worse. Because after an entire team failed to catch Quill, he sent Gamora alone, knowing that she is planning to betray Thanos.
Your sources say that she meant to betray us the whole time!
Besides, he was planning to send Nebula at first, but then he decided that this would be too smart.
Ronan has already decreed that I...
Do not speak for me. You will not fail.
You're an imbecile.
And after that, Gamora shows us how professional she is. When she is as famous throughout the universe as Lady Gaga, she didn't use any disguise on Xandar, so that she would get arrested by any police officer who sees her. And when she used a well-known method to find Quill in a huge city,
I love magic.
she simply gives him a massage and escapes, not thinking that the enemy who is still alive and conscious will obviously try to stop her. And after a little choreography session, wooden Dominic Toretto joins the guys.
I am
He's delusional.
And a raccoon, who wants to sell Quill's body for organs, because when Yondu put a bounty on Quill's head, he also didn't use any disguise.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And Groot, apparently thinking that Gamora is a plant because she is green, decided to give her a hug. But she didn't like that, so she turns Groot's hands into a pile of firewood. And just in time, the local police arrive, arrest the main characters, and send them to jail. And the feminists must be very happy, because the prison is gender neutral, so Gamora will have to share the prison cell with 50 guys. But when Gamora is a daughter of Thanos, Xandarians should have kept her for interrogation, and using a finger-breaking technique, asked about Thanos' army or his plans. But the funniest thing is that Xandarians didn't even search the inmates, so they didn't notice a goddamn Infinity Stone just laying in Peter's bag. And the next night, the criminals decide to have some fun with Gamora.
It rhymes with grape!
But Quill somehow heard it while sleeping in a pile of snoring bodies. But the plan got ruined, because a local gangster Drax decides to kill Gamora to get revenge on Ronan for killing his family. But since Quill has his own plans on Gamora,
You got issues, Quill.
he quickly changes Drax's mind.
She betrayed Ronan. He's coming back for her. And when he does, that's when you...
Meanwhile, Gamora already found the buyer for the sphere.
How much was your buyer willing to pay you for my orb?
4 billion units.
Holy shit, how much?
So the Guardians decide to escape, sell the sphere and get rich.
That's a great plan.
They are lucky that the security system of the prison was designed by an actual raccoon, so Rocket came up with a plan even before lunch, because the main component of the system is located not inside the control tower, but outside. And after the alarm goes off, the drones shoot everywhere except for the targets. Nobody deploys tear gas, the guards didn't have any training, and in the security tower there are no armed guards at all. And when the idiots brought the big guns, they shoot not all together, but one by one, so that the main characters would have enough time to escape.
Oh, how convenient.
But it's not even the biggest problem. In the rest of the prison, the alarm is not even on, so the guys just take their belongings and board Quill's ship, which for some reason is kept right here in the prison. So if someone wants to escape, they can conveniently use their personal vehicle, and if they don't have one, I guess the prison administration will call a taxi. And apparently the prison doesn't have any weapons to shoot down the escaping spacecrafts, because Quill's team was flying around for 10 minutes while he was retrieving his AirPods. And since this movie doesn't have any logic, it doesn't have any physics either, because somehow the atmosphere of the city inside a giant head doesn't simply evaporate into space when there is no force field around the head. And since, according to the imbecile's rules, it's not allowed to attend an important meeting while being sober, the Guardians go to have a few drinks. And after that, Drugs gets bored, so he uses a local 5G tower to call Smurf and invite him to the party. Meanwhile, the rest go to Collector, who is quite stupid, because he shouldn't have disclosed what is inside the sphere, to offer less money for it. And he's willing to give 4 billion units for it, even though the Guardians didn't know that there is an Infinity Stone inside.
These stones, it seems, can only be brandished by beings of extraordinary strength.
And after opening the sphere, he just leaves it on a table, like a bag of chips. So of course, since he didn't pay salary to his maids for years, she decides to take the stone as a compensation. But she is not tough enough, so the stone deletes her and ruins the entire building. And when the stone can destroy entire planets when it touches biological forms of life, this time the Guardians didn't even get a concussion. And when they realized that they shouldn't leave an Infinity Stone with a guy who hires his personnel from a mental hospital, they decide to give the stone to Novacore. But very untimely, like a sneeze during diarrhea, Ronan shows up. And when he doesn't know that the Infinity Stone is also here, the Guardians should have just hidden somewhere. But they decided to start flying over the city and get themselves noticed.
It is Gamora!
And when Nebula is supposed to retrieve the stone, she tells this:
I want every gun we have to fire.
So that the stone would detonate and kill everyone here. But since Ronan's pilots are blind and their ships are made of scrap metal, they can only destroy themselves. And Gamora, instead of keeping destroying the enemy's ships, flies out of the city so that she would be right in the open.
Not a great plan.
And because of this brilliant idea, Nebula finally hits her and gets the stone. The rest of the Guardians are not any better. Nobody even tried to help Drugs kill Smurf, so that there would be one huge problem less, when they have nearly indestructible ships, so they could have just crashed into Ronan and turned him into a puddle of ketchup. But at least Quill acted like a hero and saved Gamora, but only so that later he would get
something valuable.
Oh, you mean sex?
You got issues, Quill.
Because he knows that his father will be here soon, and his ship's airlock also works as a microwave, because after passing through it, the main characters don't have any frostbites anymore. Then, Yondu politely explains to Quill that it's not very nice to steal from family.
What's real is family.
But Quill, knowing how much Yondu likes a good battle, saves his own life by offering to attack Ronan together.
Hey, what do you say, Yondu, huh? Me and you taking down marks side by side like the old days.
And since Yondu knows that Ronan's ships are as strong as paper boats, he agrees and forgives Quill. And after reuniting with his friends, Quill comes up with a plan how to attack Smurf.
And usually life takes more than it gives, but not today. Today it's given us something. It has given us a chance.
To do what?
To die.
So the plan is to attack the main ship when it approaches Xandar, breach it, get inside, kill Ronan, and get the stone.
That's a great plan, but that's fucking ingenious if I understand it correctly. It's a Swiss fucking watch.
But this plan doesn't consider the fact that Ronan can use the stone and wipe them out in a blink of an eye. What they should have done is to ask Xandar to shoot down the ship with a nuclear missile, and then Ronan and all of his army would definitely turn into a pile of dust. And in this case, the Infinity Stone would get either destroyed or retrieved by Xandarians, so Thanos wouldn't be able to use it in future, and trillions of people would stay alive, including Xandarians.
Last week, he decimated Xandar.
But meanwhile, Ronan completely loses his mind, because after obtaining the stone, he tries to go against his employer.
I will unfurl 1,000 years of Kree justice on Xandar. Then Thanos, I'm coming for you.
Someone should teach that motherfucker
a lesson.
He didn't think that Thanos might actually send an army to help Xandar defeat him. He should have dealt with Xandar first, and then find new enemies. But his plan of defeating Xandar also doesn't make any sense. He wants to land on the most noticeable spacecraft in the entire universe, and only then use the stone, when he should have landed on a small pod and used the stone without anyone else trying to stop him. And he goes to Xandar using only one ship, when he has an entire fleet of them. I guess his other ships got parking violation tickets and got towed away. And of course, he didn't use any missiles to clear out the landing zone. Xandarians are not any smarter. After Quill told them,
he says Ronan's in possession of something called an Infinity Stone, and he's headed towards Xandar.
They didn't put their army on alert and didn't call Thor or Captain Marvel. Meanwhile, Ronan, seeing that an army of Ravagers is approaching him, didn't use the stone to destroy them in one moment, and because of that, the Ravagers managed to make the smokescreen and sneak from the bottom. And only after that, Nebula realized that it's time to deploy the aviation, while Ronan apparently was scrolling TikTok. He doesn't care that his spacecraft has just been attacked and can be destroyed any moment.
I don't give a fuck about all of that!
And while Rocket is breaching the ship, for some reason using machine guns instead of missiles, Quill and Yondu fly around somewhere else, instead of covering Rocket. Yondu gets hit, and Quill remains safe only thanks to Xandar's army, which finally decided to join the battle. And instead of helping Ravagers fight Ronan's army, Xandarians link into a net to prevent Ronan from landing. And this doesn't make sense, because now they cannot move freely or use their weapons, so they are an easy target. But instead of destroying Xandarian ships as if it was a shooting range, Ronan orders his troops to attack the civilians on the ground, using themselves as bombs.
So what's the point?
But what's the point, if they will be dead anyway when Ronan blows up the planet using the Infinity Stone? And I can't believe that this imbecile finally figured out to use the Infinity Stone as a weapon against Nova Corps. And if the stone can be used as a long-range weapon, why didn't he try to shoot into Xandar? What if the planet actually collapsed, and he and Nebula would go celebrate in the nearest space pub?
End of story.
Meanwhile, the Guardians just walk slowly and play with Groot. And when they finally find the bad guy, they shoot right into his armor, which is made of Godzilla skin, instead of his open face. But it's okay, because Smurf, instead of twisting their heads by 180 degrees, simply throws them back.
You're being unprofessional.
But then Rocket remembers how much he can get for the stone.
4 billion units!
So he rams Ronan and all of his friends, hoping to kill them, so that later he would sell the stone by himself, become the richest raccoon in the universe, and buy the biggest garbage container.
That is true!
But everyone is still safe and sound, because they are protected by the script of this movie. And since Ronan's ship was apparently made of paper, after Rocket rammed it, it begins to fall. So Groot has to sacrifice himself to save his friends, and after being reborn, get even more fans.
He's a good guy.
And after the ship crashed like a meteor, not only is Ronan alive, but he didn't even lose his hammer. He's got the strongest hands in the universe, after Mary Jane of course. I wonder why.
That's what happens when blokes spend all their time wanking over porn on the internet.
And while Rocket is assembling a weapon, the best fighter of Thanos' army, Gamora, is standing and waiting for Ronan to use his hammer, instead of trying to do something. But at least Quill is smart. After seeing that they cannot defeat Ronan in a fight, he decides to distract him with a dance. So Smurf doesn't notice how Rocket and Drax make a rocket launcher and destroy the hammer. And Quill is a hero, because he is not afraid to grab the stone and possibly die. But since he is a son of Celestial, he gets lucky, so he is not deleted. And after the rest of the Guardians join him, they manage to use the power of the stone to delete Ronan.
When evil shows up, it blows up.
And because the Guardians of the Galaxy saved an entire planet, killed a dangerous psychopath, and gave the Infinity Stone to Nova Corps, Xandarians only clear their criminal record and fix Quill's ship, when they should have given each of them a house.
And 4 billion units!
We'd like to express our profound gratitude.
This is what we get for acting altruistically.
I'm Groot.
They are ungrateful.
So, this is goodbye. So long. And fuck off.
Greedy, shit-eating cunt.